morning, guys. So I got volunteered to make something for a late Christmas party. It's actually January now, but we're having this Christmas party and kind of like a New Year party for my squad at work. And so one of the people on our squad, she kind of threw the whole thing together and said, "All right, J-Ray, what are you making?" I don't know. So she said, "Why don't you make deviled eggs?" So I said, "Okay, deviled eggs is great." And then she's like, "You know what? How about you do meatballs?" Meatballs. Simple enough. Just buy some frozen meatballs and throw them in a crock pot, right? Nope, I can't do it that easy. I've got to make the meatballs from scratch. Well, let's get started. So I'm going to be cooking for about 30 people. So I want to have plenty of meatballs. I'm going to use 4 pounds of meat. That's 3 pounds of ground chuck. And I'm going to do 1 pound of ground pork, because I think that's going to make a nice addition to the flavor. Also going to use breadcrumbs. I'm going to try Panko breadcrumbs. I think that's actually going to be really good. Also need 4 eggs. We're going to do 1 cup of chopped onion, whole head of garlic, Worcestershire sauce, W sauce, there you go, mustard. So one recipe that I saw said to use crushed red pepper flakes and Cajun seasoning. So I'm just going to split it down the middle and use some Tony Chachere's bold Creole seasoning. I hope nobody hates me after this. And for a little bit of green effect, a little bit of parsley. Now, let's get started. Alright, time to chop our onion. And you know how we do. Chop! Amazing. Slide that on over. Let's do our garlic. Ready? Chop! Perfect. Hey, I also got a new chopping tool from my parents for Christmas. That's right. It's just a chopper, but it's gonna definitely help out with this. So I'm gonna chop this garlic up a little bit more, and then it's great for scooping. Look at that. Now this isn't gonna replace my actual chopping knife, but man, it's gonna be good for doing finer chopping. And scoop it right up. Nice little gadget. I'm going to put a link for this item in the description below. You can find it on Amazon and get one today. I love this thing. It's got a nice thick hard rubber handle and it's solid. Alright, now I'm going to take and caramelize my onion and garlic. That'll give it a nice flavor before it goes into the mixture. Grab us a stick of blue bonnet, because that's what keeps most marriages together. Just ask my friend Mike Buckner. He'll tell you. Just add a little blue bonnet to the pan. Well, that went out of the pan. Shh, don't tell nobody. And once that butter starts melting down good, we're going to take our onion and garlic, scrape it right into the pan. That's a really neat gadget. You need to get one of these. Go to the link in the description below right now. Alright, we're just going to work that around. We're not going to let it get too done. We just want to soften it up a little bit. Only need to do this for a few minutes, because they're going to get plenty cooked enough throughout this whole process. Now I shouldn't say that we're going to caramelize these onions, because we're not really going to cook them down that far. Just soften them up. And that's literally it. Just about 3 minutes in the pan, soaked up all that butter, got nice and soft. And we're going to remove that from the heat and get started on the mixture. Alright, grab yourself a great big plastic bowl or any kind of mixing bowl and start throwing in the ingredients. We're going to start with our meat. Make sure you don't leave that paper in there. That'd taste funny in a meatball. 2 cups of Panko breadcrumbs. Let's dump our onion and garlic in there. 4 eggs beaten. Just kidding. Beat it with a fork. We need 3/4 of a cup of Worcestershire. I'm going to pour it faster than I can say it. Listen to our squeaky floors. And guess what? That's all I have. Good night, everybody. 4 tablespoons of mustard. I'm not going to try to scrape it out, so guess what? I'm going to make little mountains that are about a tablespoon. I'm a pretty good guesser like that. Now we're going to do a heaping tablespoon of the Tony Chachere's bold Creole seasoning. That should make about 4 teaspoons. The original recipe that I got this from calls for 1 teaspoon, but I quadrupled the size. So 4 times 1 is 4. And for that nice green effect, with a little flavor, about a tablespoon of parsley. And this is where we get messy. Gonna get our hands dirty, make sure you washed them. I washed mine last night, so it should be good. I'm just gonna mix all that in. It's a whole lot like making a meatloaf. Little bite-sized meatloafs. So now we're all mixed up. The next step is to start rolling these out into little balls. Depending on how big you want your meatballs to be. This is a little bit smaller than golf ball size. Remember, they will shrink up just a little bit when you cook them. And you've got 2 options. You can either bake them on a baking sheet in the oven, 350 for maybe 30 minutes, or do them in the pan and saute them. And that's how we're going to go. Alright, so we're going to put a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, on the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of butter. And we're using the same pan we did our onions in. No point dirtying up too many pans. Alright, now that we're sizzling, it's time to work fast. It would help to go ahead and have a bunch of these rolled out before you start putting them in the pan. But if you don't, that's okay. Okay, when you start seeing that the bottom sides are getting brown pretty good, start carefully rolling them over. Make sure not to smush them or pinch them. You can see they're starting to get good and browned. It'll take a little bit. If you have tongs, it's even easier. And guess what? My tongs are all tied up in storage with my grilling stuff. Okay, so you can see all those are browned really good on the underside. We're just going to cook it a little bit on the other side. Don't worry about getting these things cooked all the way through, because the next step, they're going in a crock pot. Oh yeah, they'll get plenty cooked. So this is just enough to kind of coat the outside and seal that in so it can stay together in the crock pot. Man, look at those things go. And they smell delicious. Now this is what I've got cooked up so far. Got them here in this pot. I'm going to put this in the crock pot as soon as they're all done. Check out this glass cutting board that my fiance's brother Brian and his wife Carrie made. Very nice. Great work on the Cricut cutter. I love it. Thanks, Brian and Carrie. Alright, let's cut one of these meatballs in half. Oh, it looks good. But you're going to have to zoom in. Look at that. Alright, let's throw that in the crock pot. I'm going to show you how to make the sauce right now. So we've got our crock pot ready, and we're going to make our sauce. For this sauce, I'm going to do 24 ounces of ketchup. There's 12 here. 12 more. 24. And here's the kicker. Grape jelly. I'm going to add about 20 ounces of that. In the pot we go. I know you think I'm crazy, but it's going to be good. And then about a 1/4 cup of chili powder. Now we're going to stir all that up real good. You can use chili sauce, or you can just use ketchup with chili powder. Works about the same. Set your crock pot on low. Once your crock pot is up to heat, you're going to go for maybe 3 or 4 hours. Just get the sauce nice and hot. As your meatballs are sitting in that sauce for that 3 and 4 hour period, they'll cook all the way through the rest of the way. Alright, time for our last step. We're going to add our meatballs to the crock pot. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know what some of y'all are thinking. J-Ray, you should have just mixed it up, put the meatballs in first and poured it over top. Yeah, I know. But either way, it'll work out in the end. Now we're going to put that in our crock pot base and let it go for about 3 to 4 hours on low. Alright, 4 hours later, looky what we got here. Delicious sweet heat meatballs. That looks amazing. I think all my friends at work are going to love it. Let's give it a try. Now I got suckered into this Christmas party, and I got suckered into making something I'd never made before, but I think it's going to turn out pretty good. That's really good. I love the flavor. They're very soft and juicy. There's really not any heat to it. It's more sweet, but not a lot of spice. But then again, I've killed my tongue and my ability to know when there's spice. So it could be hotter for other people. Who knows? We'll find out tonight. We'll see how many people run to the bathroom after they eat it. Alright. Well, there's J-Ray's sweet heat meatballs in the crock pot. Give it a try sometime. You'll love it. I sure do. See you next time on J-Ray's Kitchen. Well, turns out the Christmas party went great and everybody loved the meatballs. Got a lot of good feedback. Thanks Amanda Owensby for suggesting that I make those and giving me a good idea for a video. See you next time. I'm going to put a link for the description. I'm going to put and check out this glass cutting board that my fiance's brother and her nice words. And check out this glass cutting board that my fiance's brother
Want me to say it for you?
I might need you to. There's J-Ray's sweet heat meatballs. Try them sometime. They're amazing. Oh.